for a B2B company, if I go to your competitor websites and I look at your competitor's content and it's saying all the exact same stuff that you're saying, then you're always going to be competing with them on the price of your product or service or on your marketing budget. But if you can craft a unique way of articulating the problem that you're solving and how it gets solved differently, and that way your content and your message cuts through all of the noise in the marketplace, that has the potential to 10x what you're doing. People ask me the question of, should I create organic content or should I run ads? It's a little bit like going to a personal trainer and asking them, should I just do weightlifting or should I just do cardio? It's like, if you want the most well-rounded, healthy body, you need to do both. And I think it's kind of the same with content and ads.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Building in Public with David Ellis. Today, we're going to be recapping on our quarter one goal of trying to reach 30 new sales in this quarter. David, I'm just going to jump straight into it. Can you tell me how things are going? It's great to see you again. What are we going to be chatting about today?
Great to see you too, Stace. Thanks for the intro. Yep. So the goal is to sign 30 new clients in quarter one, or do 30 new sales is how we're talking about it. And I can break down our metrics from January and February now, which is exciting. So today is currently the 5th of March. In January, we had 7 new sales. And February, we did 12 new sales. And so that puts us at 19 for the quarter so far, 2/3 of the way through, aiming for 30 overall. So actually, I think we're on really good pace to probably hit or slightly exceed 30 new sales, which is really, really exciting. I'll just break down some of the metrics for February, because I don't think we've done that on a podcast yet. So our total marketing spend was just shy of £9,500. Our average cost per demo or cost per lead was £338. Our average cost per qualified lead was £350, because with that 9,500, we booked 28 new calls. So the cost per demo or the cost per lead is 338, but a couple of them got cancelled or were no-shows. But we have a 96% qualification rate, which is very, very high. A lot of people sit at something like 60 to 70% in terms of their call booking to show up rate, which is a disaster in my opinion. So vast majority of them happened. Maybe maybe two of the 28 got cancelled. And we had 35 calls held in total. So 35 consultations with prospective customers, and 12 of them turned into paying customers. So that's a close rate of about 42%. So we're pretty happy with that. It's costing us about £789 to acquire a new client, which is, really good for us. And so we're happy with the progress, and we'll keep you updated as March progresses. Fingers crossed we can hit that target of 30. Maybe we need some sort of celebrate, like we need something, a prize or something for hitting that. I don't know. We need to
be popping some champagne live.
Yeah, in the next podcast. I mean, we record these at 9 a.m, so
I don't mind if you don't.
I know. It's just, yeah, I guess you're in Portugal, that's fine, isn't it? You're in Europe. Let's do
35 sales calls, that's a lot. Are you still doing all the sales calls?
I am still doing all of the sales calls currently. We've said this probably on the last 3 or 4 episodes. It won't be like that forever. And this could change, but the current plan is to start transitioning me away from some of them from sort of April onwards, so Q2 onwards. I always find that I want to come in as the founder and sort of prove the model first before handing over to other people. But yeah, at a certain point, it just won't make sense for me to keep being the one taking all of the calls.
Do you think we run the risk of seeing our conversion rate, which you said is currently sitting at 42%? Do you think we run the risk of seeing a dip in that number if you aren't the one who's going to be doing the sales calls?
I will be shocked if it doesn't go down. because it's not a fair comparison. I'm the founder of the company, and I'm in all of the content and a lot of the ads and all that kind of stuff. So it's, even with the best salesperson in the world, I think it's going to be hard to compete with that. The only thing that matters is, does the machine work overall? So do the metrics still work out overall? We've got a lot of margin within the system at the moment. So I don't think that's going to be a huge problem for us. Probably what we would do is maybe split 50-50, or another option is to basically, let's say we have 35 calls held this month. What happens if we spend more on our marketing and book 45 calls, and then the additional 10 go to someone else? So that way we're not creating any risk in the business. That's the thought process at the moment. We'll keep people kind of in line with that.
And then just like a pulse check, after you've been doing 35 sales calls, how are you feeling?
Good question. I mean, I have to admit, I love these conversations. They really don't feel like sales calls to me. They really, really don't. And I know that's like a bit glib to say that, but really they don't. A lot of these people, I've actually helped them already with our content and what we're talking about and the approach we're taking. A lot of them we use, so typically it's a 50 to 60 minute consultation. And my main goal is to help them and provide them value and give them information and insight that they can use to grow their business. So it's a really, really positive experience for the most part. And then it's kind of, the conversation kind of naturally drifts to, okay, do you want some more help with this? Obviously the first consultation is 100% free, but after that you're going to have to pay. And so we just talk about what that looks like in practice. And it's never, I'm never like hard selling anyone or forcing people to work with us or anything like that. So to be honest with you, I really, really enjoy it. It's not sustainable because there are other things that I should probably be doing with my time. But yeah, it's fun.
Would you mind telling me what some of those other things are that you feel like potentially you're not being able to focus on?
Well, as a founder, there's always a million things that you could potentially be doing. And so it's a constant trade-off. You're never going to be able to do everything. So it's a constant trade-off of where you put your time, energy, and attention. And so really, there's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 different buckets where I put my time and energy. One would be kind of management and leadership stuff. One would be, long-term strategy, vision stuff. One, in our business, I'm quite involved in our marketing and sales because that's my sort of area of expertise. And then there's like running a business in terms of the finances and the, in my opinion, boring side of running a company. So there's all of these different sort of buckets. And I guess the reality is, like, if I'm pouring a lot of energy into marketing and sales, one of the balls which I'm never prepared to drop is the client, the customer experience and our service. So I'm never willing to drop any balls there. Probably what happens is it's like the operations and finance stuff that gets put to the wayside a little bit. So that's why I'm quite excited. We've made some changes in our team structure in the last 6 months or so where other people in the team are taking on more responsibility for that. They're much more that way inclined. And so actually it really serves them and it serves me because it frees me up to do the stuff that I'm best at.
That's what I was going to say. Credit to you for putting the right people in the right seats so that it does, those kinds of buckets are kind of being nurtured while you are focusing on the sales side of things. So 35 sales calls, there must be quite a lot of lessons and learnings being so like direct touch with the customers. Can you tell me what have you kind of learned over the last few weeks?
Yeah, look, the same things just come up over and over again. One thing which just comes up time and time again is the importance of having a unique point of view or unique POV we talk about sometimes, or unique market message. We often refer to this as market resonance. So a message that really, really connects and resonates with your target audience. I think the challenge here is that for a B2B company, if you don't have a unique point of view, So if I go to your competitor websites and I look at your competitor's content and it's saying all the exact same stuff that you're saying, then you're always going to be competing with them on the price of your product or service or on your marketing budget. It's just whoever can spend more on Google ads at that point. And that's fine. It's just not a game that I like playing. And so if you can craft a unique point of view, so a unique way of thinking about the problem that you're solving, a unique way of articulating the problem that you're solving and how it gets solved differently, and however that looks in practice, that has the potential to 10x what you're doing. So that can change everything across your whole marketing and sales process, and even your delivery process, to be perfectly honest. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but a new angle and a new positioning on an old problem can work here as well. And that way your content and your message cuts through all of the noise in the marketplace.
Could you give a practical example? Potentially you can use like B2B. What is our unique positioning? And just like a practical example of what you mean by that.
Yes, I'll use our business because I think it's the best example to use in this case. So one of our unique perspectives is that, and it's probably not 100% unique. There's probably other people that have said similar things in the past, right? And I think that's the point here, is you don't have to be Einstein. You don't have to be like one in a generation. One of the core kind of concepts that we've built our business around, we call them unique, useful insights. One of the core insights is that marketing and growth are actually two different things. So marketing and business growth are different things. The way that I personally see it is that marketing fits within growth. So marketing is a really important part of growth, but it's not everything. And we learned this lesson because we started our business as a marketing agency and we grew very quickly. We took on lots of new customers and we delivered great marketing results for companies, but it didn't always lead to business growth. And it's because there's lots of other aspects within growth than just marketing alone. And so we've noticed this phenomenon of businesses, and this is particularly common with traditional B2B companies, where they get stuck in a cycle of what we refer to as doing marketing and not growing. So they spend money on agencies, they redesign their website, they run a bunch of ads, they create content, and it doesn't lead to growth. And the reason it doesn't lead to growth is that marketing on its own is not going to help them. There's lots of other aspects that are involved in that. And so that's kind of been one of our core unique points of view on growth. And you'll notice that we never say, by the way, we're a growth partner and we can help you do that. We're selling the insight, which is that, hey, if you want to grow your business, you need to think about more than just marketing. Your marketing manager with 3 years of experience is not going to help you grow your business. Sorry. You need more than that. So that's one of our kind of core unique points of view as a company. There's a few others, but I think that's probably the best example.
Amazing. No, that's so true. And what other learnings have you taken away from the last few weeks?
Yeah. Another thing that comes up all the time, and maybe I'll just riff on this for a little bit, is people ask me the question of, should I create organic content or should I run ads? And in the nicest possible way, I don't think it's a good question. Because if you're following a demand generating, demand building, brand building campaign, which is what we recommend, you're not just trying to generate leads, you're trying to actually build demand for your business, bring people to you, position yourself as the expert. It shouldn't be content or ads. It's a little bit like going to a personal trainer and asking them, should I just do weightlifting? Like, should I just do strength training? Or should I just do cardio? It's like, if you want the most well-rounded, healthy body, you need to do both, cardio and weightlifting, or some sort of strength training or whatever. And I think it's kind of the same with content and ads. In a demand building strategy, ads are just a method of distributing that content. And they're great because they're very scalable, they're very targeted. You can kind of guarantee that the right people are seeing your content. But at the end of the day, it's just a way of distributing your content. And so what we recommend is start with creating great content, share it organically, and then also promote it with ads if you have the budget to do that. And it's interesting because I notice we actually fall into this trap as well sometimes in our business, as we say something like, would this piece of content make a good ad? And I actually think the question is this good content? That's the main question. So in answer to the content versus ads, I'd say start with great content and run ads if you have budget to make sure it goes in front of all of the right people at the right times.
And if you don't have the budget, do you still run the organic content? Is there anything else that they should be doing? Because as you said, like it's doing cardio and no weightlifting, but is it okay to just do cardio?
I think as a starting point, yeah, I mean, it depends what your goals are. I'm not sure how far that analogy can extend, but I think you start with creating the organic content. If you don't have the budget, you start with creating the organic content. And then ideally, you start with retargeting ads once your audience is big enough. So that's the easiest entry point into running ads. So, I'll talk about pounds, but in pounds, that'll be like 300 to 400 pounds a month. You can run to your retargeting audience. The caveat there is that you have to have enough people coming to your website or engaging with your brand in one way or another. And then once you have budget for cold, meaning like reaching new people with your ads, then I would recommend to start doing that. But if you don't have the budget, you should be able to see great results from really good content, so long as you're talking about the right things and it's optimized for the platform that you're putting it on. And then the other piece of the puzzle, which kind of leads me on to the next lesson that we've been learning over the last few weeks and months, is the importance of engagement and kind of that conversion activity happening on platform. So for example, if I look at where our consultations come from in our business, there are about 50% people who just come to the website and book a call with us. And then the other 50% are people who maybe they engage with my profile or they like my content or something like that. And I'm reaching out to them to start a conversation. So I'm saying, hey, thanks for liking my content, blah, blah, blah. I was starting a conversation. And often over time, if you approach that in just a nice way, like if you're not clearly trying to just sell them something, then it makes sense to have a further conversation. So it kind of allows you to nudge them gently through the sales cycle, maybe a little bit faster than they would have on their own. So there's that piece. And then there's also the engagement on platform. And I don't know if you probably have some thoughts on this as well, which is actually engaging with content in the feed and with your audience and with your community will help your profile as well.
Yeah, I think I've heard you say it before. If you don't have the budget, so you can either spend with money on ads or you can spend with energy. And a lot of, you can get really great engagements if you don't have budget for ads, but it really does take time, energy, and effort to be online every day, to be not only engaging with your own content, but to be engaging with other people's content. The algorithm is just naturally going to then bring you onto the screen of people within that like ecosystem. And I think that's something that we're really learning a lot about, especially on a platform like LinkedIn.
And what are your recommendations there, just as our head of content? Like what do you see working well? What, like tactically, how can people put that into practice?
So a lot of people that I chat to are scheduling their posts. And whilst that's great from like a planning perspective, it's not helping your visibility. So what we say is we like to like warm up the audience. So 30 minutes before a post goes live, you should essentially be engaging on LinkedIn. And what a lot of people do is that they post and then they engage, but that's not warming up the audience. So that's something that it's an easy fix, like an easy hack to kind of like get more engagement. Posting regularly, that's another thing, not posting once a week. Like I would say minimum 3 days a week. 7 days is the best, but if you can't do that, then 3 days a week for posting. But mainly it's just about not posting and ghosting, about engaging, leaving really thoughtful comments on people's posts, not just, wow, inspiring, like start conversations. The comments thread is gold. especially on viral posts, because then you're now like a notification is actually popping up on someone's phone that David Ellis commented on this post. And we're seeing a lot of engagement happening in the comments. Yeah, those are the 3 top ones that off the top of my head, that I say that really do work. They're not just these like, white hat or black hats.
Yes.
Tactics.
It's really interesting, isn't it? I think one of the things that I've noticed is that it almost has to become a bit of a habit as well. So it's coming back to the exercise and working out analogy again. I don't know if we might have just done this to death now, but where if you want to, get into running, for example, it usually doesn't work if you say, I want to get into running. But if you say, I am a runner, and you become someone who runs, it's almost the same thing with LinkedIn or any social platform. It's like, I am someone who posts content on LinkedIn and engages with people on LinkedIn. It almost has to become a habit. I think where people have maybe not got it quite right is they think that they can just outsource everything. And there is elements of that you can outsource. Maybe we can talk about that. But you have to be somewhat engaged in your own profile, I think, on LinkedIn as a platform.
I also think a lot of people make the mistake of chasing vanity metrics when really, like, the number of likes, it's not really like, so what, the 10 people that you went to high school that you connected with on LinkedIn liked your post, that's not really going to help your bottom line. I'm not going to mention names now, but we also have a client that we've seen maybe getting like 2 or 3 likes on a post, but converted 3 clients on LinkedIn last month. So just because you're not getting a high vanity metric engagement doesn't mean that those posts are not being seen. And as you said earlier, reaching out to people in your DMs, that's kind of where the magic is happening.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And on the flip side of that, we also have a partner at the moment who goes viral on LinkedIn every single day. Literally, he's cracked the code for going viral on LinkedIn. I think it's unbelievable. It's amazing. But at the same time, he's speaking to us because, and hopefully he doesn't mind me saying this, obviously I'm not mentioning names, but he's speaking to us because he wants more leads and revenue from that. So he's got a huge audience, much bigger than my audience, for example. He knows how to go viral on LinkedIn. He's getting tons of reach, like insane amount of reach on his posts, but it's not necessarily converting into customers. And then on the flip side, that partner I know you're talking about, you just mentioned, who, their posts on average are getting a couple of thousand impressions, maybe something like that. But it's driving real conversations and real revenue. So it's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I think it's about really just also understanding your ICP and knowing who it is that you're targeting on LinkedIn, whether it's through ads or through like engagements. And not worrying about the hundreds, thousands of impressions of people that don't matter or people that are not relevant. They're never going to buy your thing anyway. So rather, it's more quality connections.
Love it.
Amazing. Well,
Conversation.
Everything for today. Is there anything you want to add before we sign off?
No, I don't think so. Maybe it'd be good to just talk about some of the ways that people can connect with us if they want.
Sure. So if anybody wants to see more of David's content, you can go onto YouTube and search for David Ellis. He has a channel. We have backlogged episodes of the Building in Public podcast, so you can follow along the journey. We also have a newsletter. So if you go to our website, which is B2B, and sign up for our newsletter, what's great about that is you also have a direct link to David's personal email. So you can always just respond to, I don't know any other CEO who responds to emails the way you do. So it's amazing. And then alternatively, you can book a free one-on-one consultation with David. And that gives you dedicated time with him to chat about your growth strategy and pick the brain of our B2B mastermind.
Love it.
That's awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time again, David. And I look forward to the next one.
Thanks, Dace. See you soon.